Sorry. Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. Today we got a special history video as we're going to honor a Florida State legend when it comes to their football program. He's a gentleman that's right beside us today, and I'm very honored and pleased to bring him up. My man, Mr. Bobby Butler. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. We are 100 Yards of Football. And helping me break down this legend of a football player when he started at Florida State as one of the most talented high school football coaches here in Clayton County and Atlanta metro area, Mr. Kevin the Bull Jones. He's coached at Mount Zion, Riverdale High School, Dutchtown, and there's one more, Lovejoy. I almost forgot it. So thank you, Coach Jones, as we're going to break down the legend, Mr. Bobby Butler. Coach Jones, what more can we say? It's an honor today as we're going to start our Florida State legends from their football program over the next few weeks. And we got to start today as where I elected this vote that my man who's been with us for the past 3 months, giving us great opportunity, great information here on 100 Yards Football. He should be the first gentleman. When you think about Bobby Butler, what comes to your mind is him being a legend at Florida State University.
Well, here's what I know as watching him in my younger days and watching Florida State play. You know, my family's from Central Florida. That's where my family's from, at Orlando, Winter Park area. So I had a knowledge of football in Florida. And then when I got a chance to see Florida State play, and then they talk about, you know, Ron Simmons and those great days of football. One thing that I always notice, it's a common denominator, is how active and feisty, you know, the defense was, and in the secondary, how guys, when they hit you, they kind of ran through you. Just wasn't a grab. It's a grab today. As a coach, that's one of the things that bothers me. So one common denominator was the toughness. And to be able to watch Bobby go from Florida State, he was the smallest guy on the field out there. And I used to always say, man, that guy is really, really small. And I used to always tell my father, I said, Papa, I thought TV put weight on you. He said, it does, son. So that let me know that this guy was out here playing against people that were huge. So you have to be fearless. And I admire that in Bobby, because when it's all said and done, you don't judge, you can't judge a dog by size. You got to judge him by what's inside of him. His tenacity, his will to win, his will to compete at the highest level, the ability to never give up through by any means necessary. You know, be successful in life. To watch him go from a player in collegiate days, you know, and yes, Florida State has had a lot of defensive backs come behind him, but it had to start somewhere. So we're talking about the alpha, how this whole thing began with Florida State defensive backs. And my hat's off to you, because pound for pound, and you only hear it in boxing. You don't hear pound for pound in football.
Right.
But pound for pound, when you get on that scale and it still has a 1 on it, and it's still between 150 and 165, but the people you're playing against are huge, and you still go up, you know, you still run through them like the man of steel. My hat's off to you, because for you to have the longevity of playing collegiately 4 years and then play 12 years in the NFL and play over 159 games, you know, that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. I didn't play college football. I played collegiately, I played high school, and my body hurts every day, you know, because of body parts that just said, man, back in the day, this is what you did to me. But for you to be able to play that long, Bobby, I think that's just a true testament. So I think it's just only fitting, because when it's all said and done, when the smoke clears, my granddaddy used to say, when the smoke clears, it's who's standing. Who's standing? You know, because who's standing tells you. That's the gladiator. That's the warrior. You know, you don't have to talk it. See, when you have that swag, the biggest thing about the swag, you don't have to give yourself the swag. Everybody else gives it to you, because they respect you. Back in the old days, that was respect. Now the new kids say you gotta have swag. It all the same thing. It's just that everybody else gives it to you. So my hat's off to you because pound for pound, you had to bring your lunch pail and bring it. And the film don't lie. At the end of the day, the film don't lie. You had to go get it. 12 years, professional, 159 games. That's a lot of football. That's just a lot of football at the highest level on the face of the earth. Because you're playing against guys that they're elite. That's the elite status. That's why they're in the NFL. Because they are able to play at a high performance level. And till this day, how much did you really weigh when you finally retired from the game? And just imagine whatever weight that is, that's not even the average weight of defensive backs that play in the league now. Everybody now 6'2", 200 pounds, 6'3". So you were that warrior. And my hat's off to you because that's to be able to walk it and talk it and then be able to walk again without any help. That's real. That's real. My hat's off to you.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. One of the things I can tell you, the game of football is such a physical game. Nobody ever plays injury-free. And so, especially my generation and my time, we were groomed as kids. When you're hurt, you don't show your opponent that you're hurt. You get up and you play. Every coach I had was like, my college coach in particular would say this to me. Well, not just me, everybody. He said, if you get hurt and you lay down on that god doggone ground, your knee better need to be operated on or your neck better be broke. Because we didn't want to give our opponents a mental edge that, oh, he's down, I got him now. Give them some inspiration to go on and, oh, I got him, I can work him now, right? Bro, we never did that. And so I played with a lot of stuff, especially when I got to Atlanta. I learned something real quick when I got to Atlanta is that the game was much bigger than college, right? Now, when I was in college, everybody ran a wishbone, everybody ran a veer, option kind. So I had to come up. I was going to have to be involved with the running game.
Right. Which makes it even tougher.
Which makes it even tougher. And so, but then in the pros, you're playing with the elite of the elite. And you're playing, when you're 21 years old, you're playing against guys that you've been dreaming of playing with or against your whole young career. But you find out really how big the game is. And so, I had a guy named Ronald Lawrence who was the left corner when I played when I came to the Falcons, the first camp, coach. I had on my college shoulder pads, which was like this, because I was camouflaging my weight.
Right.
And those big shoulder pads really helped me when it came to the physicality of the game, right? So he said, "Man, young blood, you can't play in this league like that." I had my hip pads on, coach. I had all my thigh pads on, because I'm going to war, right?
Right.
Then I found out that, in the NFL, it's a little different game. As long as you chase that rabbit on the edge, chasing well, you're going to be good. But what I didn't know, after I started to bring those shoulder pads down, Vincent, and I started to not play, I never played with thigh pads. I never played with knee pads. I just pulled my slacks out. I never played with hip pads. The only two things I had on, and I never played with a mouthpiece. The only two things I had on was my helmet and my shoulder pads, which now they're not my college pads, they're quarterback pads.
Wow.
And so, but what happens with that is injuries. So I remember when I tore the labrum in my left shoulder, my second year, trying to type, I how we were. We're playing cover two, I'm working the receiver, he goes inside, and I'm working him too long. I see the tight end coming.
Right.
I just want to just get him a little extra. And kind of got outflanked. They threw it. Pat Hayden threw the ball to Mike Barber, who's an all-pro tight end, and I had to reach to grab him with my left arm. And he took my left arm and put it on my back. And so my labrum was gone, and I never got it repaired. I played 11 seasons with my shoulder like that. And so, but I came from a generation that played like that, right? And so I looked like I came away from the game scot-free. But I didn't. And I had a bad neck and all that kind of stuff. But it was football, and it's like war wounds, right? I can talk about it. Yeah, I was a gladiator, right? But I really appreciate that. The game is football. It's never changed. It's a physical game. And, it's a game I always say it's a game for every size person. It's not just a big man's game.
Right.
If you love the game, you really can have something to contribute. If you're a speed guy, you got athletic ability, you can add a lot to this game. And I tell young people this all the time, because in this time, Vincent, everybody from the 901, even from the 305 now, they want to be the next Iverson. They want to be the next, Curry. They want to. It's basketball, because basketball is the most fun-loving sport. But I tell people all the time, football is the greatest team game on the planet. And for me, it was just a pleasure to have the opportunity to play, not only through college, but to play in professional ranks. And I really enjoyed my time.
So let me ask you this. With that being said, so when you look back at it, you rank 6th all time with interceptions for the Falcons. But here's one nugget that stood out to me watching your career. And I don't know of another person I can say this for. When you play 12 years with one team, that's a long time. But here's the nugget that makes it stand out even more. You played for 5 different coaches. That's unheard of. Usually when a new coach comes in, new staff comes in, that whole veteran guy, you got to win the veteran guy over. The veteran guy has to listen to what you say, his system, his scheme. And you had to succumb yourself to that in 5 different occasions and still maintain a high level of playing. And that's unheard of. All of my friends that played in the NFL, none of them stayed with the same team if they played more than 4 years. They didn't stay with the same team, and much less the same coach. So were you able to tell me how that happened? You to be able to go through 5 head coaches with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, and that's what you get around the head. Normally when a new coach comes in, he's going to get rid of all the old, because he thinks the old make the team bad from the reason why he's there, right?
Right.
So I was able to get through that for 2 reasons. Number one, my skill level. My coach at Florida State, Jack Stanton, the DB coach, defensive coordinator. Let me tell you something, man. I could backpedal all day long. I can weave. I can do the things that most guys didn't have the skill to do. If I saw a cornerback, we draft a cornerback from Oklahoma, we draft a cornerback from Nebraska, or even the Big Ten back in those days. First day of camp, I look at his feet, and I can tell you right now, well, I'm here another year. Because they don't have the skill. They don't have what I possess. But I had a pivotal moment in my career, and Vincent is going to love this story. I had a cousin who played for the Falcons before me, a guy by the name of Cannonball Butler. Look him up. He's a great running back. Played 10 years in the league. Played for the Steelers. Played for the Falcons. And he had a jazz club when I first came to Atlanta. And so this was like my 2nd or 3rd year in the league. And I'm at his jazz club one night. And Lem Barney, the great Lem Barney, Vincent, was in the club.
Detroit.
And he said to me, he said, man, I watch you play. He said, man, the way you cover, man, my chest was out here. The great Lem Barney talking about how I cover receivers. I'm like, and then he said this. He said, how do you study? I looked down and said, man, I don't study nothing. and I was telling the truth at the time, right? I was just playing on athleticism, right? He said to me, he cursed me like I was his own son.
Yes, sir.
He took me in the back room. He got the keys from Cannonball, his office. Went to Cannonball's office and sat me down and told me why it's important to study film.
Wow.
That night changed my life. I went back to work with a new vengeance. And I figured out something, and it gave me a lot of value, especially at the end of my career, when I could break down a film and break down a receiver. Because, see, when I couldn't run no more, I didn't need to run.
Right.
I mean, you saw some of my tape. I probably couldn't run the 4.64 at the end of my career, but I could play bumper run, and you couldn't get by me.
Right.
I mean, some of the fast receivers, you couldn't get by me because I studied and I was disciplined. And saying that was the key. And I'm thankful for meeting Lem Barney that night because it changed my career. I was a young man playing my 3rd, 4th year. I played 12 years. And when I left the game, and you can ask Deion Sanders this, we studied tape. And the thing I love about it, so I'll pass this on to Deion on how to break down tape and how to break down offensive coordinators because they change jobs.
That's right.
And so whatever they do when he's coaching at the coach, he's in the Broncos. The next time you play him, dude, bring out the book on it, right? And so Deion picked it up, and he was a student of the game, right? And I felt so proud, not only for myself, but to be able to give that to younger guys and say, look, guys, hey, this is the way. We got to study to show ourselves approved in this game.
Right.
You know, because guys can run, guys are bigger, guys are stronger, they are taller. You know, you need every edge you can get on defense because you don't know what they're going to do from play to play. And so that changed my game, and it helped allow me to play 12 years.
Well, when you talk about legends and you talk about greatness, where I come from is always about situations.
Mm-hmm.
So, number one, you being able to be with me over the last 5 months, I've learned a lot from you off the football field that I'm going to get to.
Mm-hmm.
But Florida State has raised a great person, a great player. And me and my business partner, Ronnie Keebler, how you doing? Brooklyn in the house today. We always have something that is very serious that we say in life.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people not built for this life.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that, I think about you coming out of high school, Brother Butler, and you telling me a story that Michigan State was after you.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama was after you. But you decided to go to Florida State that had no memory of any football program.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I went 0-11 your first year.
No.
Before you got there, right?
I got there, right.
And look how that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of players are not built for that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not built on patience.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's telling me that you really believed in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I was a freshman at the University of Arkansas in 1978. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know nothing about Florida State football.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I know about y'all played Memphis State every year.
All right.
And it was a game that went back and forth in the series. Y'all win 3 in a row. Memphis State might win 1 there. And the only players I heard of was Ron Sellers.
Right. Uh-huh.
But that time I was in college for those 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State came on the map. And in 1979, I started following you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm going to go back, not built for this life.
Mm-hmm.
But you hung in there with a program, and obviously you believed in the direction, the culture, and you saw one day that you could see what Florida State can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, I'm going to say this. Didn't nobody even know of you at the time. You came and became an All-American in 1979,
Mm-hmm.
then in 1980. But think about the competition you had to go up against. All these players that was getting love. Kenny Easley, UCLA. Dennis Smith, USC. Humphrey Dixon, Southern Mississippi. Ronell Young, that was down at Alcorn State. John Simmons, who was at SMU when I was in the Southwest Conference.
That's right.
Ted Watts, that was at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, you come out of nowhere, and then Florida State is on the map. Then I'm going to go a step further. Everybody ain't built for this life. You get drafted by the Falcons, a franchise that was up and down in your career. But you played 12 great years. And look where Atlanta is now. When I'm saying you built the foundation and you took a chance and hung in there. Everybody ain't built for this life. But not only that, what I'm impressed with is that you told me something that stuck with me. And I'm proud today here at 100 Yards of Football. This young man, Florida State, Delray Beach. A lot of people don't know this young man can be a head coach. And all right, Coach Jones, with his prime, this young man can be a head coach on the D1 level.
That's correct.
But one thing he told me about a month ago, I asked Brother Butler. I said, man, why you didn't go into coaching? He said, man, I got 4 beautiful sons. I can't do that. And man, I gained so much respect because you see so many of these athletes that's coaches now don't have time for their families. But look at Brother Butler. Bryce went to USC, played with the Dallas Cowboys. Brenton, one of the best point guards at Fordham University down in the Bronx. Yeah. So when you look at the legend, and I'm telling the Florida State people out there, Y'all have built a great one. When you talk about personality, you talk about great leader. You talk about charm, doing it the right way. And as we say from the 901, he about that life. That's what I think about you. And I'm honored and privileged. I never dreamed that I'd be doing a show with an NFL great. I don't care about Lawrence Taylor. I don't care about Hugh Green. I care about Bobby Butler because I've seen what type of man he's been since he's been with Vincent Turner. And Florida State, if y'all don't bring him back and honor him sometime in the next few years, I will get some people to be writing some letters. Because this is a great guy, not only a great football player, but a great father and a great man. That's all I have to say today. Oh, let me back up. One more thing I have to say. Lakeside, all the way live, Bobby Butler.
Hey, that's
good. Final words, Coach Jones.
I tell you what, you watch how people, live their life and follow their role models. And one thing I've been able to latch on with Bobby, the wonderful things he told me about Bobby Bowden, his coach, his mentor, his father figure, that just humbled my heart because as a coach on the high school level and dealing with college coaches and having players that play for me that go on to the collegiate or to the professional level, it's imperative to absorb the good people around you and then take that and pass it on. So Bobby, you've done the same for me in the short time I've been around you, the mentoring and the helping. And that's what it's all about. That's worth its weight in gold. So I salute you for that because when it's all said and done and the smoke clears and when we're standing in front of the man and he says, "What have you done?" And that's what it means to me because it's more than just about football.
Yes.
It's about life and how you treat people. And you've been true blue. Yes, I was that little kid watching the Falcons play back in the day and watching you and watching the Falcons go and I'm watching the games and I'm watching the tough seasons. But that is not indicative of just who you are. That's part of who you are. Because my grandfather used to always tell me, you measure a man by when you speak to him and when he leaves your presence, do you have something great to say about him? Has he left an impression? So my brother, my big brother, I call you my big brother now, even though I still got my baby face, but I call you my big brother. You have left an impression on me. And yes, I echo what Vincent says. And yes, my family's from Florida, so Central Florida, but Florida State, a great legacy of football, a great foundation, and just the things you told me about Coach Bowden speaks more about you than it does about him because whatever he gave you, I see in you.
Amen. Amen. Man, I appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys so much for the kind words.
All I got to say is this, man. Sometimes the Lord comes in your life and put great people around you. And as I sit here today, you wouldn't never told me this 20 years ago that I'd be with a guy that played at the high level for the Atlanta Falcons, 12 years in the league, went to Florida State University, changed the culture. It's something that we have here at 100 Yards of Football. You got to be about that life. And one more time, this young man, Mr. Butler, could have went to Alabama, but he decided to take a chance on the Florida State program, and look where Florida State is at now. Then think about his years with the Atlanta Falcons, some very tough years. This man played 12 years. 12 but look at the Falcons right now. Granted, they might not be a Super Bowl franchise, but they're a franchise that can get into the playoffs. Right. And times have changed. But again, Mr. Butler know where I'm coming from with this. See, when you come from the 70s, it's something different. No disrespect to you, Coach Jones. 70 babies. When you come and say 60 babies, there's something special. Because in the 60s, you had Muhammad Ali. Can you feel me, Brother Butler?
Yes, sir. Yes,
you
sir.
had John Carlos.
Yes,
you
sir.
had Tommy Smith.
That's what I'm talking about.
You feel me? You had Walter Payton. Mm-hmm. Lord how much. You had Truck Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Very short.
Wow.
It's something about the 70s. It was about that life.
Right.
And everyone that watches this video today, everybody know where I'm coming from. And I thank that to 100 Yards of Football. And I know my father watching down in Memphis, Tennessee, loved that I said that. To Chester Turner, the 901, thank you. Thank you, Brother Butler. Thank you, Coach Jones. Thank you, Coach Jones, for us honoring this great guy today.
Absolutely.
Y'all have a blessed day. If you like the video, please like and share it. We coming here 100 yards of football this season. You gotta believe it.